moved to Brockton, Massachusetts. And how old was Hagler when he moved up to Brockton?
So he was 15 when he moved to Brockton, and they moved in with some relatives, and he really didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. He had dropped out of school by that time. He had a girlfriend in Newark that he was helping her raise her child, and he was working full time at helping his mother pay the bills and feed his brothers and sisters. When they got to Brockton, he started working for a construction company, and he was at a party one night, and that's where Marvin Hagler's future changed. Was he was at a party with a bunch of other teenagers, and he talked to the wrong girl, and he got into a fight with a guy named Dornell Wigfall. And Dornell Wigfall is really the reason why Marvelous Marvin Hagler exists today, because Dornell Wigfall was a big, tough football player, American football for Brockton High School, which at the time was a real powerhouse in New England football, one of the biggest schools in America, 5,000 students, and they had a great football team. And Dornell was a star that was actually being scouted by the New England Patriots to play for them. And Marvin made the mistake of talking to Dornell's girlfriend or a girl that he was with, and they fought. And Marvin was on the losing end of that fight. He got beat up pretty bad, had to go to the hospital, had a swollen jaw, broken tooth, and he vowed from that moment forward that he was never going to get beat up again. And that's what really started Marvin on his journey to boxing.
So wasn't one of the things that started with boxing was when he started working for the construction company because the two brothers that owned it?
That's correct. The two brothers that owned it were Goody and Pat Petronelli, and they also ran a boxing gym. And Goody Petronelli was a really close friend of Rocky Marciano. And when they opened the gym in Brockton in the late 60s, their partner was supposed to be Rocky Marciano. So in 1969, Marvin and his family moved to Brockton. A month before that, Rocky Marciano had been killed in the plane crash in Iowa, that everybody knows that story. Goody and Pat Petronelli at that time were wondering what their future was, because here was Rocky Marciano, who was supposed to be their partner in the gym, which would have brought in a lot of business and they would have got big fighters. All of a sudden, they don't have him anymore. He died in a plane crash. So they're mourning the loss of their friend, wondering about their own future. And a few months later, a young Marvin Hagler walks into their gym. Little did they know he was their future. At the time, he was just another kid off the streets, but he didn't even know what he wanted to do. And but pretty quickly, he showed that he wanted to fight, and Goody and Pat and Marvin built a pretty incredible friendship.
You say Hagler went into the gym to box, but I remember reading somewhere, I might have been mistaken, a few years ago where initially Hagler just went to the gym. He didn't even compete. He just sat there and
That's right. Yeah.
most trainers would go and actually try and encourage, but Goody could actually see that this person was traumatized. Do you know what specifically? So just let him stay there until eventually Hagler of his own accord actually started hitting the bags. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so what happened was there was another gym in Brockton. It was the Ward 5 gym, which was where Dornell Wigfall trained. And Marvin originally started going there after that fight with Dornell. He said, because the gym was right across the street from where Marvin lived at the time. And he went into that gym, and that was run by a guy named Vinny Vecchione, who went on to train a lot of boxers, and including Peter McNeely, who fought Mike Tyson. Vinny Vecchione was a gangster. It was a mafia controlled sort of gym. Marvin went in there and he sat there for several days, and no one ever came and talked to him. So he left, and he walked over to the gym around the corner, which was Petronelli Gym. And when he walked in there, he wasn't there very long before Goody took an interest in him and asked him, "What are you here for, son?" And Marvin said, "I want to fight." And they started talking and they started working out. And the Goody ended up asking him his famous story that Marvin used to tell. He said, "Well, what do you really want, son?" He said, "I want to be middleweight champion of the world." And Goody said, "Well, I'll be your trainer." And that's how they started.
Okay. So what was Hagler's amateur record like?
I believe he was 51-1, I believe ended up being his amateur record. And he fought he was thinking about going to the Olympics in 1976. There was talk of him being put on the Olympic team. I'm sorry, 72, the 72 team. And but at that time, remember, he had no father. His mother was on welfare, on government assistance with all the kids, five younger brothers and sisters. And Marvin's working full time. he said, "I can't go to the Olympics. I can't go fight for free. You know, a gold medal is not going to pay for my groceries." So he went.